I've unmuted now. Okay. Well, everyone, hope you can hear me okay. No, Cheryl, I'm very unhappy. Everything I touched lost. Just all right for you. You did okay. No, I'm just joking. Well bloody done. Well done. Okay, I've just seen what you started doing so well yesterday. So I've had a chat with the MD and he said, Cheryl, you've got to take over the trading room because you're doing quite well. So I'm going to make you the host. Is that okay? Welcome, Cheryl. Any teasing. A bit early in the morning, I know. Morning, Sean. Morning, Lapumbo. Weren't you in yesterday? No, CPI. Just come at past. I'm going to go into more details. Give a couple of minutes. Prefer to start at past on time, and we'll go into that. The question there is, we're going to go bargain hunting or not? That's the thing. Or maybe we'll wait till Monday. We'll put that together here. No, you're doing fine, Charlotte. Only kidding. It's my sort of brain damaged way of saying, well, bloody done. Or what's the other one? Spare ribs. Okay, that's past. Okay, I'll just start off with that question there. I don't know if in the training you missed it or whatever, I can't remember. But what happened yesterday, I say it's all about interest rates, world debts, US in a nutshell. And the CPI coming out took on a bigger importance than normal. Normally the number one, as you know, is the monthly jobs report, but that hasn't over the last several months had quite a effect as yesterday's CPI. Now, they've been increasing interest rates quite a bit over the last while, trying to bring the inflation down. And if they saw this not being brought down, the way will continue the hawkish stance on the pace of the US Fed, known as the Fed, simple as that, where they'd have to increase interest rates on a more ongoing process, even if it leads to a little bit more joblessness, tough sort of thing. Now, because the CPI expectation was lower than was higher than the actual results. In other words, the consumer price index went up less than expected. That was considered some of these reforms are kicking in on the inflationary side, and inflation was down. So immediately it was assumed that we'll talk about 50 basis instead of 75 basis points increase by the Fed in December. That had a major, major effect on the market, far bigger than often these non-farm payrolls that come up. And if you caught the right side of it, you made a killing. If you caught the wrong side of it, clearly you made the opposite to a killing. And that's what happened. The dollar came down yesterday before the 3:30 announcement, and it was over 111. It's now come down to 107.77. Okay, and that's in a day. In fact, it's less than a day. It's only half a day. 3:30, it's about 15, 16 hours ago. It's come off from 111 to 107.7. That's a hell of a move down. Okay, and that resulted not just in dollar, gold, and markets, as in the stock markets being involved. The world's markets had a similar jump all over the world, South Africa included. You know what I'm saying? And even the ones like the Canadian, the Japanese, and the pound, all of them had sort of big reactions to it, one way or the other. If you're going the right way, lucky you. If you weren't, unfortunately, unlucky you. So if you did come out, I'm happy for you, but that was a trending piece of luck. If it went wrong, it did anything wrong, it was bad luck, simple as that. That was nothing to do with tech analysis. And that's why I print every time. I'll do it just now on the platform here, on the trading room here, is the economic fundamentals from investing.com. You've got to check them out because they're taking on even more importance with this inflation carry on than normal. And you've got to be aware of it. If you're going on a technical basis and you're buying or selling here, and the fundamental comes out, the technicals are irrelevant. It would go through resistance like a knife through butter, or fly off like a knife through butter in the opposite direction, depending, as occurred here. When you see that in the chart, it's normally these kind of candles, it's normally a fundamental. And when I say normal, there's nothing 100% in life in this business, except death and taxes and the sun rising in the east, whatever, but the rest is not 100%. So, but overwhelmingly, you see these kind of candles, it's nothing to do with the technicals, fundamentals come out, just so that you know that. Now, the problem is you've got a job to do, you've got other stuff to do, you might forget to check. So you might go long or short just before the CPI. And it's happened before where you by sheer undoubted luck, didn't even know why, wherever, you suddenly make a killing. Within a minute or two later, it screamed through your TP or it screamed through your stop loss or wherever. Just be aware of that. As I say, I can't mention names, but one guy made an astronomical profit yesterday, simply because by lack of knowledge, he did himself a favor. He didn't know anything about position sizing and he put in 1 instead of 0.03. 0.03 compared to 1. That's about 35 times the actual position correct volume size for his account. And it turned out he went the right way. And of course, he made a killing. He probably thinks he's no end of a trader now, but I'll be honest, he got lucky. Much as it went against him, he would have been unlucky. Just bear that in mind. So you have trending days and trading days. Trending day, when you've got a multiple very important fundamentals, economic fundamentals coming out, and trading day, where you're relying on the technical. It might not be as quick, but I prefer those trading days because you don't have this bloody heartbreaking, heart-stopping kind of movements. So you can plan more on the technicals. And this is where you learn and control. You cannot control the fundamentals. It's completely beyond your control. And that's why it's important to guide the trader to understand that, because I know we get a lot of negative feedback from guys out there who don't have trade room and said, Roger, you said short and it shot up. How can you be so wrong? Well, the technicals determined to short it. Obviously, if the fundamental kicks in, it's a knife through butter. Example again, a bomb goes off in the Straits of Hormuz going into the Persian Gulf. What's going to happen to oil? It's going to scream up. I don't care if technically it's in the bear market, it'll scream up. That you didn't know that bomb was going to go off, unless you're the perpetrator, of course. You get the point. Okay. Well, that's exactly. Well, the guy surprised me. Normally you take the money out, but this guy's left it in there. My worry is this, because he doesn't know what he's doing. He's going to go and think this is that life to print money, going completely overexposed. Next time, come back and bite. See that out quite a lot. So yeah, winning the lottery is not an investment. That's luck. Basic idea. Yeah. Okay, just bear that in mind. Okay. So trading days and trending days, be aware of that differential. Now, we come back as before, guys, new guys, you can always post on the chat line or unmute yourself. Have I muted you all? No, you can unmute, haven't muted you all. You can chit chat if you like, if you want. Any background noise, I'll just have to mute you. Just bear in mind, this is a forum, trading room. It's not a class where, we have teacher teaching you and that's it. This is where we're interactive. I can't read your minds, so you have to verbalize it on the chat line or obviously unmute yourself to ask questions. I can't do training in here because it's a trading room. I can, but it's not the right thing to do. I want to make that clear. The training is for the classes. Guys come in here, we've gone to a few classes, so therefore they've got the basic knowledge here to hone their knowledge and strategies and discuss trades. However, clarification, not a problem. Roger, what's that blue line? If you don't want a candle, let's go to classes. I'm not spending all the many candles, you've got to go to classes. But if you know what the blue line is, or the magenta line, or the brown line, no problem. If you don't, we're talking about DXY, I can copy and paste it. If you don't know where to get the position size calculator, that's absolute total priority. You've got to get those volumes right. I'll tell you. Specifications. This is important. You've got to understand what it means. Left click on the, I've just used the NASDAQ as example, right click and left click on specification. Not just the margin, you've got to know what the contract size is and what it means, how to apply it. I asked this morning, what's 0.05 represent on silver? So it's no good me saying go to specifications, you can do it. You see the figure there and doesn't know how to apply it. You've got to have the mass to apply it. The contract size means, we're on, no, we're not on silver now. Help if I do that quickly. Go to silver now. It's $21, right? So the contract size clearly is 500. So what does that mean? It means 1.0 is one lot or one contract. One lot, one contract. Donkey, thank you, means the same thing, just a different terminology. Okay? It means one contract is 500 times the price on your screen. Or 500 times that is clearly 10,000. Is that right? 500, 5,000, 10,000. Yeah. So it's just over $10,000, not rands, dollars. So you've got to apply the exchange rate, call it 18. No, it's not, call it 18. So if it's 500 times, that's $10,000 times 180, it's 10,000, 100,000, it's 180,000 rand per contract. You get the idea. So if you want to go 0.1, it's divided by 10, and clearly 0.01 is divided by another 10. So if you've got 0.01, if the dollar price moves up or down by $1, all the 86 cents goes $21 to 22 or $20, that will be $5 per 0.01 movement, either against you or for you. Do you understand what I mean by that? And that basic math is very important to understand, so you can understand the contract size. That's why a guy going 0.01 on gold and 0.01 on Dow is ridiculous. Because on this platform, not all platforms, you've got to check it on different platforms, but on this platform, gold, S&P 500, NASDAQ, and Dow is 10. So clearly the Dow is 30,000, gold is 1,700. There's an enormous difference. So if you multiply 10 by 300, you get a far different figure than 1,700 times 10. So 0.01 in gold is piffle. 0.01 in the Dow is very large. And that's why I say, please understand, if you've got a couple of K in your account, literally 2K or less or something like that, even 3K, you can't trade the NASDAQ, never mind the Dow, because what happened yesterday, it came off about, well, the Dow went up, kept going up at maybe 800-900 pips. That is $80, $90. We're talking about in the region of about 1,500 rand on a micro. You can't handle that in a 2-3 grand account. So that's what you've got to understand. I hope it's all clear. Right, you've got to understand, again, a platform trading with different pending orders. What's the difference between some guys wondering how making money and didn't realize they're not in the market because they placed a pending order. They're not in. It's only when in the market. You've got to know what good till cancel means, what it means a day. But that doesn't apply to market orders, it applies to pending orders. And you buy stop, we won't go to buy, sell, stop, it's a bit more involved. I don't want to use it anyway. But a buy, stop, buy limit, sell, stop, sell limit, you've got to know what they are and why they're there. And this is not a training room. If it's quiet, I might explain it. But if you haven't got much going on, I might. But that's really for platform training. That's their job. And I don't mind a bit of hand-holding for your first trade. But I've got to teach you to place your first trade. No, that's not my job. It's your responsibility to know how to operate the platform. We can, and I do, supply trading ideas. If you don't know what button to press, then you've got to learn what button to press. I can't press it for you, and I can't spend half an hour with each client telling them what button to press. That is their responsibility. Hope that's clear enough and we all understand. A lot of guys call up and they say, can we have an hour one-to-one Zoom how to trade? No, that is for the classes. Once you've got the basics, you come to the trading Zoom, you've got thousands of clients. I can't do an hour each. It's impossible, even if I wanted to. So I don't mind doing, but it's just impossible. So just bottom line, that's why to overcome that problem, attend the trading room. And a lot of people don't attend the classes. They buy the course, they don't attend the classes, the platform training, but they go ahead anyway and wonder why it comes up bites. Why was I kicked out? Margin call, what's that? They didn't even know they're in leverage positions. That is clueless. It's getting in a car and driving without knowing anything. You've got to know what leverage is, the pros and cons of it, and the basics of margin and how it applies. So that's for the classes. I can clarify here with absolute pleasure when there's not a lot of trades coming out. Because this particularly, because we've got some experienced guys here, done the due diligence, done being professional at it, and wanted to have trading, and they're being held up because guys can't be bothered to go and do it themselves. Doesn't work that way. We've got to look after the people who made the effort, not the people who did not. Simple as that. Okay. And it is where I rely on you as much as the vice versa. I don't know everything, and I'll be quite honest about that. I don't know everything. Jethro might see something. Zephon, who's in the moment, might see something. But Tomi, knowledge the name, comes in. They know a little bit. They've done it. And it's very important, the ones who trade, have that input. Because I often miss it. Jethro comes in. Why do you want to look? Oh, you got a good point. I forgot to check the weekly. Like Clinton the other day. Zoom in a bit, or zoom out. We'll get the whole way around. Oh, hang on. That's a good point. Look at that massive head and shoulders. This looks okay. That's why I say we interact here. Not trying to get clever or you got it right, I got it wrong, I'm going to sulk or vice versa. No, we're trying to play it together. Hope that's all clear. Now, the CPI was more dangerous than normal, Jethro. Normal, the number one is the jobs report, but this time, even bigger reaction because of what we talked about, the interest rates and the escalation of the increase of those interest rates. It took a far, far more powerful effect than normal. And as it turns out, I don't know the exact amount, but what, $2 or $3 trillion was added, not talking about Forex here, we're talking about the world share markets, to I think maybe even more, $4 or $5 trillion, at a large amount. In those few seconds of coming out, were added to market value on the stock markets, to wealth, if you like. Guys like these guys like Facebook and those sort of guys who've got millions of shares, and it goes up that much, they made over $1 billion each individually when you get those kind of jumps in a few seconds, which is unimaginable 50 years ago. You get the point, unimaginable. Some of those guys in that session, within a minute or two, increased their private wealth in literally individuals by over $1 billion. Can't give you exact amount off the top of my head, but we're talking astronomical amounts of money being played around on that. Yeah. Now, I want to go to this margin call thing. Sorry, if you put a trade up, guys, this is very important. I'll stop immediately and look at it. So I'll stop. So don't forget. But margin calling, I want to mention this is very important. Right. The stop loss in TP is a sell or buy order. If you're selling short, the SL and TP is a buy order. Going long, it's a sell order. But if there's no buyers or sellers at that point, your stop loss or TP won't get triggered. The TP, hallelujah, happy days. The SL is where it causes the pain. So example, let's go to this massive candle here. Let's go to slightly more obvious chart in the 15 minutes. So we get it. No, let's do the euro. Let's do the euro dollar. What the hell? Probably more clarity. We're doing the Nasdaq if you like. Yeah, here we are. Right. Zoom in a bit. No, I can't. Let's see it. Never mind. I have to zoom out again. In fact, let's do the hour. Probably a bit easier. Yeah, do the hour. Yeah, more clear. Right. Right. You entered here. You entered here, right? As a sell. And your stop loss was here. You did due diligence, put the position size calculator on, and you realize your risk on that one is 500 grand, and you put your stop loss there. It might not have been triggered because on that information coming out, it might have instantly shot up there. So now you get margin call, but it's too late. You've got a problem. Remember, because there's no buyers and sellers here when you kicked in there. Don't be frightened. Don't get nerve dragging in, but just be aware how the system works. If a bomb goes off in the Persian Gulf and you're long oil, it'll be as bang up. Sorry, a short oil. Yeah, short oil. The oil price will go screaming up. It might not trigger your stop loss because there's no buyers or sellers at that point. Does that make sense? So just get an idea of that. Now, do you have to? Because that's what you, Jethro, that's what you have at hand is technicals. Just chatting to a lot of people on that. Technicals, absolutely. But as mentioned to you guys before in here, I would say as little as 5 or 6 years ago, it was about 80% technical, 20 fundamentals. Now, since Ukraine and the partisan divisions politically in America and all the big debt coming out and interest rates and all those and COVID, I'm saying it's probably close to 40, 45%. I can't say exactly, fundamental and 50-55, maybe slightly less or more technicals. So nowadays, one has to have some idea what's happening around the world, particularly in the United States, where you probably got away with not having much idea as long as you can read the technicals. Because a fundamental coming out, look at that. Never mind 50-day moving average will go through like a knife through butter. And you'll go from a sell zone screaming into the neutral into the buy zone. And that's what we call technical damage. It was a sell, it's not a neutral, it's now buy zone. I hope I wasn't too quick. You'll understand that because it's very important. The indicators are all right, but the robots are all that wrong indicators, lag indicators, have their uses, but they can't cope, they can't think, and they can't cope with fundamentals. So you're going to get that. That's a fact. That's why I say it's all very fine robots, but you don't know that's coming out at 3:30. The robot doesn't know that, and it was correct to short gold. That indicated that that robot was going to have a problem because it doesn't know that. It can't think. Talk about AI, but we haven't got to quite to where they can think like humans yet. Not that humans do a lot of thinking, but anyway. Okay, and sometimes you can see a momentum. You can see the momentum going. You might have missed a lot of it. It's immediate. You can see it still moving up. You can quickly jump in and buy on the momentum. Look at Fibonacci, trend line support, irrelevant. You're purely buying the momentum. That's another one of looking at it. But you've got to be on it. You've got to be quick on it. If you're a bit slow on the stop loss TP, bung your order in, put SL in by modifying afterwards. At those times, you've got to be on it. Say, yeah, well, yeah, like the old Castrol adverts, remember in the past, it's too slow. Sometimes, other times, a lot slower. It can be fantastically quick and can be slow. It's like a Ferrari at 250 on the open roads and stuck in traffic jams in traffic when we get to Johannesburg at 5 o'clock. Just got to understand similar attitudes. Okay, right. Let's have a look at a couple of trades we've got out. We've got, well, I got out on my group WhatsApp. I think it was the GBP AUD. A lot of guys got stopped out in the movement yesterday in profit because I suggested they moved it down. In hindsight, I wish I hadn't posted that, as it turned out, because it went down. AUD, what's it again? GBP AUD, sorry, GBP AUD. Let's show what I mean now. It came down nicely yesterday. It was a day. It went down nicely yesterday from here, and I said suggest modify stop loss to protect. So the guys did do that and stopped out in the profit. Then it went up. The guys who didn't modify, they're busy or didn't see the WhatsApp, actually in the end scored out of it because it went up into a loss again and came down. And today it hit the TP, which is just above the 200-day moving average, and that actually hit our TP at 76.48. As you can see, it went below that, went down to 76, in fact. So it actually hit our TP yesterday, but some guys are stopped out. Now you think, bugger it, why that idiot Roger post that? Well, that idiot Roger didn't know that was going to happen. So I'd rather play safe and have the guy bank a profit rather than risk that profit now screens into a loss and they're stuck with it. So I'm sorry about that, but I still think that was a better idea. Those guys who missed it got lucky. Like the guy yesterday made 12,000% in 5 minutes. He horrendously overexposed in a highly leveraged account. What would have happened to him if the opposite came out? Let's say the CPI figures were above expectation. Now it's inflationary. There would have been a plummeting. He would have now not been margin called. He would have owned all his money in his account and he would have owed the company money. And we'd have to go after him and say, sorry, mate, you owe us 30, 40,000 rand because it shot down. The margin call wouldn't kicked in time because it opened so quickly on that within seconds of that movement of the news coming out. So he would have been horrendously not margin called, he would have owed us money more than he put in. Don't want to frighten you, I'm trying to give you the facts of life on it. As it turned, it went in his favor by sheer lack of the draw. He put his entire house on red without knowing it. He could have been homeless, but now he's got 2 houses, lucky him. My worry is he doesn't know it. He'll do the same thing again. He won't do his favor and they'll put it back again, but that's his choice. Okay, right. So I hope that's all clear. Now the GBP AUD, as it turned out, hit the TP, so quite lucky on that. GBP NZD was another one we got in a second time around. It did hit the stop at 1.495, unfortunately, and then came off again, but stopped out, so be it. Guys took another shot at it and done okay. If the guys who modify the stop away, which is the wrong thing to do, would actually still be in as it turned out. I'm not encouraging that, but it seems to be therefore still okay. So we did another one at 94.75 last night. and it's now in profit. Whether you modify the stock to entry or not is your choice, but if you took it, I think you should modify it to entry. So going into the weekend, you can't move. Well, you can if something goes wrong, but in theory, you should break even if something goes wrong. But if you want to leave the stock where it is to try and squeeze more out of it, that's your choice. Okay. We did a highly aggressive. A lot of people didn't take it. AUD/USD. I mentioned that we might get some bargain hunting, but the dollar still came on and off. It still came down as it turned out, and unfortunately, it did hit the stop loss at 9.6. So that's why I say you got the volumes there. Don't overexpose, and that's highly Rambo aggressive. If it goes wrong, well, so be it. It's a bit of a punt to say the least. Fortunately, it didn't work out too well. Doesn't matter as long as you know that. Okay. GBP, and we mentioned that. CAD JPY, we're waiting for a buy. We can look at that. But before we do that, I want to look at the US dollar JPY. We discussed it could come back down to 140, maybe, and we're jumping. If 142 holds, we can look at this is last night. Sorry, yesterday afternoon's trading session. A 142 hold, but it wasn't holding. Popped up, came down. Rather leave it. Right thing to do. Now, some guys put, I think it's self, Maris, you mentioned you put in a a pending order buy at 140. In retrospect, maybe we should have put a little bit above that just to make sure he pulled it, but he didn't quite get to 140. It got down to 140.15. So unfortunately, might not have been filled. A bit of a pity about that, unless you were awake at the time and you went in anyway. I didn't check, to be honest, because I can this side, but I won't mention anybody's. Don't worry about it. I'm just talking individual. I won't mention their money or anything like that. That's highly illegal. But I can mention that. I think you'd be happy. Just an example. But I know some guys, they openly told me, don't worry about that. It's not a big secret about it. Put a pending order for 140. Unfortunately, wasn't triggered. But it doesn't seem to be getting any legs going. There'd have been up clearly 100 pips or more. But it doesn't seem any legs going. And I'm looking at the DXY on my other chart, and we're not getting a recovery. I thought we might get a bit of a, after that massive over the top, in my opinion, movement, we might get some recovery, profit taking, short covering, bounces, nothing else. And a little bit came in, but nothing major. It's still looking fairly reddish out there. So I was hoping we're going to get some bargains here, this being one of them, but I'm not so sure now. Not getting any follow through. Look at today, 10 hours old today, and it's gone up, and it's still, but it will come off again. You get the general idea. Okay, so I don't think we're getting follow through, so we'd rather leave it alone. I think rather leave the dollar alone at the moment. Let's not get too cute, unless you want me to look at a highly aggressive one to preempt it. High risk, but if it comes right, you can make a tightest stop and make a horrendous TP. That fortune favors the brave, but sometimes it does not, if you get my point. Okay. Well, if you went in, that was highly risky to do that after 140. You mentioned, Marius. You're not going to be happy at the moment. Okay. Anyway, but we'll see. I'm looking at a shorter term chart. I'll do the 4 hour to start with. Yeah, see, we're not getting the follow through. It's hovering. I'll give you due. It's hovering. It's not coming off that much more. It's hovering, but I'm still a bit nervous of the dollar. Having said that, I'm going to be honest. I'm going Rambo mode again. I just think the dollar's now overcooked. I mean, remember, you got the figures of CPI. They were slightly better than expected. They weren't horrendously better than expected. It was just pleading for some good news. And when you get some good news, you tend to think, that's great. And you exaggerate the goodness of that news, if that's correct English, and overreact to it. I think that we're not out of problems yet, far from it. I still see a big recession coming. We've got massive debt out there. Even if inflation comes down, we just kicked it slightly down the road. The problem is still there, it hasn't disappeared. Okay, so I still think we're going to get some strength coming back into the dollar. And to be fair, 114, it was a bit overvalued against other currencies, to be honest. So I'm not so surprised. I'm more as thought that was going to come, which didn't bear out. Not quite as sudden as the CPI. I get that, obviously, but I could see it's ridiculously overvalued. Now I think it's approaching, I can't say exactly, a bit undervalued. I think we can look at bargain hunting maybe Monday, but I can think we can do Rambo, highly aggressive trades today if you think it's overcooked, as long as you realize it is aggressive, and make sure your volumes won't hurt you if it goes wrong. Okay, don't put your sodding house on it. Okay. And something else you want to take is the spread. as well. If you think it's going to pull back to 140, just in case it comes to 140, but comes out, the sell comes to 140, or the bid comes to 140, and the ask, let's say, is 145 or whatever, 5 pips above that, it might get there on the bid, but not the ask, and you're not taking in, because you buy on the ask and you sell on the bid. So it might be an idea in future, if you want to get at 140 or round figure like that, maybe 15, 20 pips above it. Even if it comes off a bit more, at least you can take it in. So you had place at 140, 20 or something, just above there, you can take it in, and you'd be at 100 pips up and smiling now. Right. It's drifting around a bit, super aggressive. If anyone wants to put that up to a super aggressive on the dollar, we'll have a look at it. But just bear that in mind. It is super aggressive. But a smaller position size, I mean, it hurts less if it goes wrong, but the TP will be hectically wide. So if it comes right, you'll make it back because you got in at the pioneer stage. What I mean by pioneer, it's like buying Bitcoin with $1. Nobody wants to buy it then. Everyone's too scared. Everyone wants to buy it when it's near the top and everyone else is doing it. Then it's different. You get my point. Okay. I want a second house, yeah. True. Yeah, but you see, the problem is FTC is now looks like it's gone bankrupt. Banex is not going to bail it out, last I heard. And the problem is there's been talk, there's not proof it yet, some insider dealing, which is a bit shady. The trouble is these things happen, it's blasted out in the news. Being emotional people, we start to run into fear zone and we blame the whole sector. There's a lot of guys out there in Bitcoin think it's a wonderful product, there's lots of good stuff about it, and now will suddenly run away. It's a bit like saying one aircraft goes down and not flying again. But 100,000 take off and land okay. We must try and get this emotional, put a pinch of rationalism into it, start to think a little bit in that way. Yes, it did, but I mean, opportunity to buy it again at bottom. Not Bitcoin was wrong, the whole lot was wrong. I mean, people complain if you get a negative on Hello Peter. You get negatives all the time in Standard Bank and ABSA and all the other banks. But people still go to them, you know what I mean? So don't just say one aircraft goes, a car breaks down, I'm never going to drive a car again. No, you know what I mean? Put in perspective. Okay, going back to the dollar, by the way, still going off. I'm just going to print it again. You probably know who have it, but I'm just going to print it again for you. Please have it. No excuse for guys who come to the trading room, don't know what the DXY is and don't have it minimized or keep an eye on. This is very important. Economic calendar, we learned the hard way yesterday, or the fantastically brilliant way yesterday, is very important. So you've got to know what's coming up the economic calendar. If you trade technically on a trending day, it could come back and bite. You've got to be aware of it. You're not going to suddenly buy or sell the euro dollar, you know, just before the non-farm payrolls or something like that. So you need to be aware of it. And the US 10-year note is the most traded note in the world. And we're not after the bond price, we're after the exact opposite, the yield. Bond goes up, yield goes down, yield goes up, bond price goes down. We're after the yields. I'm about to copy and paste that. We're looking at the yields going down means it's good for the markets and gold, vice versa. Just remember that. Okay, copy and paste. There's no excuse not to have it. No excuse not to have a position size calculator. We provide the product free of charge. If you don't make use of it, don't blame us. You can't go in without budgeting, and volume size is absolutely imperative. This is, then you'll do okay. Look after the down, the upside, look after itself. All right, you're gonna, right, you want to do Cheryl, yeah, you chick usually clucking. You're going to be a Rambo, are you? You look at the dollar, okay, good for you. US dollar CAD, you want to sell it. So you see there's more downside in the dollar and you're going to be a bit of upside creeping on the CAD. Before going to any more, I want to mention the CAD. It went in simply with the dollar because they're next door neighbors, but it's a very different economy. Might be a bigger country, but it's far sparsely populated, it's so bloody cold at times. You know what I mean? They have a lot of resources. They haven't got Keystone Pipeline problems under the Biden administration. They're going for Africa on there. So I think there could be some Canadian dollar strength creeping in. I agree on that. I just think the dollar, both dollars, are a bit overcooked. That's my worry without even looking at the chart. Cheryl, my worry at the moment is I think they're a bit overcooked. I might ask for Clinton's input on that because He has a bit of knowledge. He's been trading for a while. And I know for a fact that is, because he told me he's been trading for a while, and I want his opinion on it. But I personally think they're both a bit oversold. So I think a bit of dollar strength creep in. I think a bit of Canadian strength creep in. So I'm a bit nervous to sell or buy it at the moment for those reasons, without looking at the technicals. Technically speaking, you're absolutely right. That's my only pullback. So anybody, any opinions on what I've just said? There you are, Clinton. What do you think of what I've just said? Any opinion on that? Do you agree, disagree, or any? If you disagree, please tell me. I'm not going to sulk, and I'll learn from it as well. You agree? Okay. Anybody else? Jethro, you trade for a while? My only problem is I even looking at the chart. I've got it in front of me, but I'm looking at the other screen now. My problem is I think they're both of them a little bit oversold. I'd rather see maybe a bit of a dollar bounce against something like the Japanese yen, which is, to me, is overbought, if you get my point. Oh, I'm sure you're Lady Rambo, Cheryl. I'm sure you are. Don't have to prove anything on that side. The confidence you've attacked this in the short period of time you've been doing it, you're a Rambo or Rambo S or a Lady Rambo. I don't have a problem with that. Okay, now this is another point, Sean. I want people to do what Sean just said. Never mind what I'm blathering on about. You're over 18. You can think for yourself. I like it. If you think that, fantastic. Zeph has been very good leading the way on that. He's got a mind of his own. We want to get you so you can fish yourself. Once you can do that, you say, no, Roger, I still like to sell. Get that risk reward up. Absolutely. If you want to do that, absolutely. Let's put it up. So you want to do the sell on it and see if anyone wants to join you on it. I've given my opinion, but you get it wrong. I'm not saying that's the rule of the game. It's my opinion. All right, a bit of experience, I give you that. Still my opinion. What we on the way at my announcement? Good to me. Daily, where we put the stop? We've got to put it. We can't put outside yesterday's range because that's going to give you 265 pips too wide. So we'll put it round about here. If you want a tighter stop, tell me. You've got plenty of downside. You can take it down to here. So you've got plenty of downside potential. So I'm going to put a line there if you're going to put risk reward. If you disagree, you want a different stop loss, you can. And I think a stop loss around about these levels here. Maybe that. If you like them, we'll do that. Okay, you want to do a pending order? Jeff, with all due respect, you're old enough enough to know exactly what you're doing. You know how the position size works. You're more knowledgeable. You can do your thing there. So guys who need a bit of assistance on it, I'm suggesting that's a stop loss TP if you want to sell this. For the record, I'm putting my hand up. I ain't going to do it, but that doesn't say I might miss out. Right. So anybody want to do this one? Rand's nice for the moment. I don't know how long he's going to last. Go, Mo. Anyone want to do this? Not pending orders. I mean at market. Anyone want to do this at market? If not, I need two people. I'll put it down. Cheryl's in on the sell. Anyone joining Cheryl on the sell? I'll put it down here. Philip, are you joining us? Do you want to sell this? Carol wants to go in. Okay, we got two. So we're going in at Mars. I'll put it down. Clinton, what's your opinion? Are you going in on this one? 1.3314, 1.3. I've got to put the stuff up. Sorry, guys, I put the bloody thing in. Where is it now? 1.13. Can we get a round figure? 1.34. 339. It's ridiculous. This is 56. Make it 60. There we are. 1.31. Make it 60 there. Cover the spread. What the hell is this? 3160. That just cover the spread. That give it short. Put a 5 in there. 1.3160. That's better. Yeah, that's the risk reward's fine. 100% around a micro. That's no problem there. Okay, I'll put that down. If you're happy with that stop loss, etc., I'll put that down. That's 1.34 and 1.3160. There you are, if you like it. Anyone else going to join? Oh, he likes it. Clinton likes it. All right, we've got 2 or 3. Let's see how that works out. Only reason I'm not going for it, guys, totally agree with you, Cheryl. I'm just worried about, I think, both of them. So it's like in this case, I think they're a bit, they're too even Steven at the moment. But I actually hope I'm wrong. They call that an empirical victory. When you're wrong and you're pleased you're wrong. It's like saying imperial victory is when I say, I think New Zealand are going to beat South Africa in the World Cup final, and they didn't. South Africa won. That's an empirical victory. You're pleased you were wrong. Now you've got to teach me Zulu. I'm teaching English. Eh? Okay. Happy you all got that if you want to do it. Okay. See how it works out. We'll refer to it. Gold. I think gold is probably dangerous to jump it now, but a lot of them I think are getting to the stage where we can start finding some bargains. It got to 1760 odd sometime during the night or early more hours. Yep, 65. My problem is, are we getting follow through? 4 hours, only 2 hours old. Try now. We're not getting much follow through. Normally that happens. We call it a 3-day rule. Get a big movement like that through the fundamentals. 3-day rule. I think maybe extend it a little bit longer. Maybe a 2-day rule will do. But anyway, whatever. It seems to be consolidating now to see what the situation is going to be. I think gold's overcooked. I think it's going to pull back. Having said that, guys, this is hectic. It could continue. Okay, we'll look at Brent and WTI. Let's have a look at it. Start with Brent, alphabetical order. If you want to have alphabetical order, you see symbol at the top where my arrow is there, click on it, it gets an alphabetical order. It's not easy to find your stuff in your watch list. There we are. Yeah, Brent on the 1 hour. I got to help that is right. Daily. Yeah, it's done technical damage. It's gone from the sort of round about the 50, where it's opened above. We could get some upside in Brent. What is the worry? My only worry is it's come up to a bit of resistance there. I might get some TP profit taking. Some guys might have put in some TPs there. What are they? Sell orders, which might mean that the trigger might get a pullback. Plus, it's a round figure of 95. But I see no evidence of sellers on the candle. Remember, I use the candle to see where the wick is evidence of sellers or buyers creeping in. I don't see anything on the daily. Maybe go to the 4 hour. Not much. 1 hour. Not much. And if it comes off the hour, the buyers will come in again on the 15. Whew. Every time it's come off, even on the 15-minute, the buyers are coming in. So it's starting to look a lot better. It looks like we're not going to get much of a pullback to get that pull through. The question is, do you want to go in now, or do you want to do a pending order lower price, or wait for a break? If we go in now, we can look at the TP up here, or even slightly higher, giving us about $3. To me, to be honest, that's a bit close. Normally, I trade oil, I like about $4. I've traded quite a bit where I've had $2 modified, not stops, but I'm modified my top to $2 because into basic break even. I wanted to make a lot more out of it, so I didn't want to close it. Came back, stopped me out, and went on up. I wasn't on board. So I like to have, when I entry, more than $2. Even threes might squeeze it, but not less than 3. If you're going to have a $3 stop, you've got to look for at least $5 upside. $5 in there is going to take you to 98, which you might not get. Where we now 95 to 98, you need to take it to $100. Do we get $100 of potential TP? Here's $100 here. It's reaching a bit. It could make it there, but my problem isn't that. It went to the weekly now. My problem is this. Look at this. This is my problem. It hasn't broken through this particular moving average. It's a 200-week moving average. That is making me a little bit hesitant. 2 reasons I'm hesitant going long on it. Day looks like a buy. Getting the risk reward is going to make it worthwhile. And this particular obstacle we got in the weekly. So for me personally, I'm going to stay out. Any comments? This is a forum. I want comments. Etienne, who trades a lot. I know that. I know Clinton does. I need feedback from the both of you to help me out, as well as helping everybody else out. I think you're living in hope. There you go, Mo. Big strike, big national strike. I think Eskom is still several years of major problems. I think the fundamentals around will keep it fairly weak, but we'll see. Dollar's got to be radically weak to be able to do that, get back to 60 in my opinion. We'll see. Okay, any comments on the oil I just mentioned? I see some more upside. If you want to get a risk reward in the normal fashion, minimum $3. I prefer 4, remember. Then you got to take to 100. Do you feel comfortable it's going to break up to 100? If you do, I'll put the RR up and we can do a trade. I get your point there, Cheryl. I'm not for the reason I gave, but if you're a scalper, like I know Etienne says he is, and you might want to say, sod it, I'm going to go for it. I'll look at maybe 97, 98. Fair enough, that's up to you. But I'm just saying, don't forget some obstacles here going back. And this goes back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's 6, 7 weeks, 6 weeks or so. It hasn't broken through yet. And always the threat, if it does go up again, the political impact on the Western world is so hectic that people won't like stuff, especially in the United States. They're used to cheap oil. That we talk about opening the Keystone Pipeline, and which they might do anyway if they win the House, which they still haven't got the results in yet to finalize it. It looks like they will squeeze in. It might actually occur, but certainly the Saudis can actually start closing off the taps to bring it down a bit under pressure, which they will. Although Biden went to see the Saudi guy, I forget his name now, and the Saudi guy gave Biden 2 fingers. Etienne, I want to mention something on that. Sentiment, do not forget, is probably the biggest indicator in the entire market. I think it's been driven by sentiment. No matter the news, that's also true. Sentiment, emotion. Without doubt, the retail, I think the entire market, a lot of it's sentiment. And a classic example was yesterday of that's more sentiment. I mean, I'm sure it'd been a reaction to get it, but that to me was over the top. That's more sentiment reaction than realistic. We haven't got out of the, a bit of good news. We won the Rugby World Cup in 1995. Yeah, but we have a day or so of euphoria, and then the reality starts kicking in. You get the idea. So sentiment is an absolute, probably the biggest indicator of the lot. Understanding that that's sentiment. And if you're a highly rational person, it might confuse you, but understand this. Emotion always leads to logic. If you have an argument with your spouse and your spouse's emotion, you're right. Even if you're rationally right and logical, you'll lose that argument. Emotion, always the more powerful. If you doubt that, you look at the adverts. You see the car driving beautiful people on the open road, clean and looking marvelous. What's that got to do really with a motor car? Nothing rational, it's all emotion. Sell the dreams, they say. Okay, so anyone want to do the Brent? Okay, don't, I won't put the RR up. If you do, tell me and I'll put the RR calculator up. Okay, you're good. Some of those guys might do it privately. They know what they're doing. I'm happy for them, just to help everyone else out. This yes mean you want it up, okay. Now this might help me with, because my normal way, you won't get a risk reward. You want to buy it, so I'm going to have to put stop down here. Out the way, we certainly get a risk reward. So where's the stop at the moment? There, it's only $2. I want the stop lower down. I want it down there. Okay, which means to get that risk reward, we have to go back to a weekly. I'll have to put the TP up here. Then you might squeeze it. $103. But I think you're stretching it. I might get there, and bomb might go off in the Persian Gulf. I get that, but I wouldn't hold my breath. If you like it and you want it, you modify your stop, fine. But yeah, it seems to be fairly bullish momentum at the moment. But I just gave my reason why. Yeah, as well, Gerard, remember, equity is still emotional, but less so, it's longer term. This is transparent, shorter term, and you can see movement on your PL instantly all the time, and that plays on the emotion. I always use the example, your house, by the way, Gerard, I'm just telling you, by the way, over the last 2 weeks, your value of house came off by 10 grand. You didn't know that. You don't care. because you're going to live in it for the next few years. You don't care. Out of sight, out of mind. If you see the house price ticker in front of you over the last few weeks, means you've lost 10 grand in value and value your house, you'll have a very different emotion. Using that as an example, eh? You get the idea what I mean? This is so in your face, it plays havoc with the emotions, the ups and downs. Just bear that in mind. Okay, so if you got that, there it is. I want to move on. AUDJPY, that's a funny bugger. We've had a few trades in the trading room out here. We've done okay at it. It's given us a lot of bloody heartache getting there. You know, come off, up, down, up, and eventually got there after giving you and tying your money up and giving you a lot of heartburn in the meantime. It's in a neutral zone. Do I think the yen is overbought? Yes, I do. Do I think the Aussie is fairly stable? Sort of. Too much reliant on China, in my opinion, but still it's a pretty good economy. Neutral zone, I think it could get a bit of upside here. But then again, it's at resistance at the moment. It's in halfway house. We've got a potential strong area here around about this level. It's only about 100 pips away. Where do you want to put a stop? Below today's low. Already you can't get a risk reward. And that's only today, remember, it's only 10 hours old. So really correct, you've got to put the stop down here. Then you got over 100, you get a 1-to-1 ratio. My problem with that is if you buy that, you're getting a 1-to-1 ratio. If you sell it, right, you want to stop up here, maybe a little bit higher out the way, 100 pips, you need about 150 minimum. Down there, you might squeeze it. You could probably get a risk reward on the short, but not on the long. Depending which way you're to go. I think that Japanese yen's overcooked. I'm leaning towards upside and down. So I would leave that alone. If you're a scalper on a momentum, different ballgame. Any comments? Agree, disagree on that little chit chat? I'm just going to mute you all, guys, getting background music again. Noise, not music. Right? That's what my wife used to say, Roger, I wish they invented a mute button for you, Roger. That's what I think, Jethro. I think it's overcooked. I think it's just, it's just overcooked. You like that, do you? It's overcooked. I think we'll get back to a little bit of Japanese weakness going forward. I still like the dollar yen as a yardstick to look at. And it's not happening, is it? Let's look at the 1 hour. Or is it? Yeah, I seem to be holding the accumulation. I'm just a little bit nervous to jump in as yet. However, having said that, it's not impossible because you could do a seriously wide stop if you want to do it. Maybe down at 139.80 or something like that. A wide stop below the round figure 140 and take it back up here, something in that line. We can look at that if anyone likes to look at it, but it will be a high of 0.01. Somewhere there, yeah. And the TP will do there. You've got a 2.5, 190, nearly 200 bucks risk to make that. That's a wide stop, but still, even though it's a wide stop, fairly aggressive. But I'm saying I'm thinking ahead. I think some sentiment and profit takings coming to the dollar, and I think this is not going to continue. I'm just going to get some news coming out saying we're not over the hill yet. We've still got this debt. We still have inflation high, which still is. Any comments like that from the big boys will suddenly have the dollar saying profit taking, starting to get a few buyers attracted to it, underpriced. You get the idea, and then the yen is a bit overbought. And we could get a bounce. And yeah, so I don't think that's a bad trade if you're willing to understand the pitfalls as well as the upside, what I'm talking about. So I'm looking to buy with that wide stop here. And make sure if it goes wrong, you can afford it to go wrong. As I say, don't buy around if you can't afford it. Or better one, don't do the crime if you can't afford the time. I think so as well. I agree, Etienne. Before we do that, anybody want to do this one? I need some input. It's like Cheryl, that's why I say, guys, this is for guys only. Yeah? Don't get married because except the down to getting married, you're going to get bullied by your spouse. Women bully us men, you know. I'm very much believe in the Men's Liberation Organization. So just bear in mind, you get it bullied. Isn't that right, Cheryl? They do. I miss those Battle of the Sexes. I think great fun. As long as in jest and we'll have our tongue in our cheeks, of course. But anyway, back to this. Anybody want to do this? Just waiting on you. Need some replies. And we'll look at CHF JPY. There's good possibilities there. We'll look at that. No, I've certainly had some right women. I mean, no, I'm only kidding. Just to have some fun. No. The only time I've been bullied by a woman, I can tell you right now, is when they talk rational sense, which disagrees with my emotional sense. And that hurts because they were right and I was wrong. In fact, a lady once said this many years ago, as in Cape Town, and I made some comment. She turned around and said, "Zach, then you've been mixing with the wrong women. Nowhere to go on that. Good bloody point." That's basically it, probably, yeah. Okay, so we don't want to do this trade. I'm getting the impression. Okay, we'll leave it then. Okay, that's fine. We'll leave it. But do you remember, Pete and guys, when that extreme reaction to fundamental comes out, nobody's right or wrong. That's just luck of the draw. You had bad or good luck. That's simple as that. Nothing wrong with your trading, bad luck. So we'll leave it. Yeah, that's trouble. I agree with Jethro. They just play with our emotions. They do. We never do that because we're the sensitive sex. Hey, isn't that right? Anyway, we'll move on. Get too much rubbish here. Okay. CHF JPY. All right. Okay. Right. Technically speaking, I'm going along with this one. I know it's in a neutral. It hasn't gone back. Been a bit of technical damage going from the strong to neutral zone. I think some possibly upside here. I agree. Let's just squint, just zoom out a bit. Look, it's way above the 200. It's sneaked into the neutral. Where's the stop down here? Quite a wide stop. I'm prepared to get a smaller position size. Brent's triggered. Good. Hope it's gone the right way for you about that. Smaller position size. And have a wider stop than a tighter stop. You get knocked out in the jumps and ups and downs. You got plenty of upside potential. I'm afraid I quite agree. I want some feedback before I put the calculator up. Anyone like a buy on this one? And if you don't, I like to hear that as well. Or someone sees a sell, I like to hear that as well. We'll put them both down if you want and see how it works out for either party. But just back it up with some reasons if you would. A bit of a triangle, but I'm basic more. The Japanese is overbought, the Swisses are oversold. I think remember the Swiss franc is the most stable currency in the world, and the Japanese still have to import expensive oil in dollars. They cannot put their interest rates up, remember, like the other hawkish nations, because their debt GDP is so huge. So they can't increase their debt repayment problem by increasing interest rates. That's why they left it there. So they got to stay dovish and haven't got much choice in the matter. You get my point. Okay, so on that basis alone, I think there's a good chance. It's come off. It seems to hold these areas here. I think there could be some upside. Let's look at the 4-hour chart. Coming off a bit now, I get that. Let's look at the 1 hour. No, it's holding a bit of indecision there, but it's holding. The buyers are tracked to this level. Any obstacles on the weekly? Not many on the weekly. It's still pretty good weekly as a buy. You know what I mean? It's very powerful buy there on the weekly. I think it's a possibility of a buy here. Okay. You never get 100%. As long as there's more ticks on the buy than there are ticks into not to buy, that's good enough. I want the stop down here, like I mentioned, out the way. We'll put the TP here. 148.75. Just below to count for the spread. Remember, if you're on the long, the short's got to get to target. Sorry, the bid's got to get to target. What the hell went wrong there? 148.75. So you put the decimal place in the wrong, decimal point in the wrong place. That's better. Right, I still want that there, so I have to move it up a tad, but I don't really like it. It's a squeeze, this one. It's a squeeze, but I don't want to tie the stop. So I'd rather have a squeeze at 1.5 or 1.6, and I think the TP is in the right place. One might want to move the TP up, but I don't want to move the stop up. What do you think, guys? I have to say I quite like this. Opinions, guys. Hey, if you want to go short, tell me. I'll put that down as well as a trading ideas. Do you like it, Fani? Do you like it, Gomo? Cheryl? Anybody? If you see a short, we'll put it down. You like it. We'll start off with the buyers, and then we'll do the sellers. You like it? Okay. Right. Okay, that's fine. A couple of guys going in, so I'll put that down. I'll put it down to Etienne, because I was going to look at it anyway myself, but I'm not going to try and grab the glory if it goes right. But I'll blame if it goes wrong, so I'll put down Etienne. But I do like it. I have to be honest, so I can't get too cute if it goes wrong. 1.4662, 1.4. Sorry, do it again. 1.4540, 1.4875. Okay, so Gomo, you want to go for a short on this? Just knock this off. I've written it down if you want it. Anybody want to go and join Gomo for a short? Just let me know and I'll put up the calculator for a short. Lemo, okay? Lemo's good enough. Gomo Lemo seems a bit mouthful, but Lemo's just good. Anyone want to join Lemo for a short? You can call me George Clooney if you like, ladies. That's my nickname. Or Brad Pitt, whatever you prefer. Because my similar good looks, you know what I mean? And youthfulness. George the Looney, yeah. Anyone want to short this one? Uncle Dollar. Yeah. Dollar. $147.390. Yeah, it's too tight. If you're going to put the stop in, you've got to have it up here. That's fine. That's 126 pips. You need about 200 pips. You'd have to aim down. You'd have to aim down here somewhere. But anyway, that means it may. I can't put a short down unless I get at somebody else. Okay, well, a couple have gone along, so I've written it down. Last, I'm moving on. If nobody says they want to short it. Getting no feedback on the short. Sorry, Lemo, I'm not getting much support there. Okay, see how that works out. Got it down. Paper handy when you're doing this. Hey, always keep a pen and paper handy. Okay, note stuff down if you're not sure of or a question you want to ask and come back to. Okay. That's fine. I'm just putting the stuff up. That's your choice. Okay, let's see. Have we got anything else we would like to look at? The Brent's doing okay, you said? Not really. It's hovering. Well, you said I thought it was shooting up. It's hovering. But I can't get a risk reward for it in the normal way, so I have to leave that. Okay, I think let's have a look at the indicate, not the indicators, the indices. Are we getting any pullbacks? Not so far. I think it's imminent though. I think it's imminent. Imminent, but we haven't got confirmation, but I think we can start getting a pullback from these levels. But that is highly Rambo to go in now. I think confirmation will be more prudent, but I have a feeling 4,000 is the line in the sand for the S&P. As I said, fundamentally, the problems haven't disappeared. Just because inflation has come down a little bit since 3:30 yesterday, has not got rid of the massive overspending by the Western world governments on social programs. Massive overspending. At one stage, they're giving about 100 million US a day, which is not their money, it's borrowed money. It's not even taxpayers' money, it's borrowed money by printing more to the Ukraine situation from the US. So that problem's gone away. So I think once you've got the confirmation, I think we're going to start getting short again. I'm not sure it's going to go bouncing right up to take out the 200. Well, I still think we're in a bear area. This is a glitch in the bear run. I still don't see bullish. Well, you laugh. That's exactly what they are doing. To me, the US Fed, what do you call it? Not the Fed themselves, the printing press of the money. What the hell do you call it? Think of it now. They reckon it must be in the basement where they just print the money and spend it. So I say it's like having a demo account. If you lose, you just top your demo up. If you win, you keep it in real money. That's how they're handling it. Just print more, and it's coming back to bite. We've been doing it for years and years since Nixon took the world off the US dollar off the gold standard, and put it into the floating standard like it's doing at the moment. All they do is just print more money. That's how they're funding these programs. Well, that's exactly what they are doing. Exactly. They're doing that. They tell us we must be fiscally prudent, etc. That's exactly what they're doing. They don't make that noise. Somebody pinched somebody's bum 20 years ago, so he's a sex pest or thing like that, to keep us off asking awkward questions that really affect the world like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what they've done. Printed more, and they're picking up the problem. It used to be a credit nation, now it's a debit nation. Just because they're paying the debt, they're not broke. But if they continue the way they're doing, that's what Powell's trying to do by being hawkish, is there going to be a stage where, like Eskom, they can't hardly pay the interest to eat into the capital of the debt. Then you know you've got a problem. And once you get sovereign debt, that is when, like Greece only 10 million people. Look the effect they had in the world. Can you imagine a larger economy getting sovereign debt? And when people do wealth creation, when you've got a high net worth and you want a guy to put an investment together for you, they use the yardstick of the guarantee of the sovereign lending, if you like. So they say we'll lend it to you at 5%, not the gilts, but not the semi-gilts, but the gilts are sovereign backup, and that's supposed to be sacrosanct. That's absolute 100% guaranteed. And Greece put that into a worry. That's why it's such an enormous knock-on effect. Well, the problem with Republicans as well, they're not as cohesively on the same side as they should be. Because most of them, like everybody else, can't blame them like everybody else, they're humans, look after number one, and they want to keep their jobs, so they're making the right noises to their voters to spend millions of a sales pitch campaign so they get voted in again. You know what I mean? So they haven't been as cohesively binding by the party lines as they should. And that's one of the reasons. And unfortunately, I think a lot of the reason, I hate to say it, is a lot of respect for Mr. Trump, but I think his announcing he's going to be make a big announcement the next day, I think did a lot of damage, because a lot of guys wanted to vote for government that just frightened Trump, and so they changed their mind just in the last minute. I think, quite frankly, I hate to say it, but I think Trump was a big cause for the fact that we didn't get the red wave. I mean, the red wave, not we, but I mean, the red wave didn't occur. That's my opinion anyway. Have a super duper yourself, Cheryl. Yeah, I tell you what, if we can get our hands on that printing press in the basement of the US Federal Reserve, we should all going to be pretty happy chappies. Is it coming off? Is it CHF-JPY? What do we get in again? Yes, it's coming off a bit. So yeah, good call. With 20 pips in profit, you went short. Yeah, I'm still happy with the long though. We've got a decent stop. But yeah, it's come off a bit. But I don't think, I just can't see the Japanese yen taking it down that much further. But again, that's why I would stop. Position sizing, because we don't know, could be wrong. The dollar's trying to bounce, it comes off again. So you might be right, Go, that's what I'm saying. But at the moment, I made that decision. So we'll see how it works out. The noise up and down will always be there. Go to Pick and Pay and come back. It might be back at 146.80. You never know. But up to you. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. Okay, we looked at gold. We'll have another quick check on it for you. Yeah, it's still holding. I thought it might start pulling back. Still holding, leaving it alone. And I think the NAS is still holding at 11,700. So steer clear. I think it might be fairly quietish going into the weekend and letting it settle, and hope to God we don't have another week like it next week with these fundamentals screwing the whole picture up. Because when the fundamentals leave us alone, our hit rate is incredibly high in correct trades in the trading room. Incredibly high. It's when these fundies come in and kick you. And if they kick you in the right way, I'm the first to put my hand up and say, I got lucky there. But I will say mitigation, that was bad luck. I didn't know till the figures were released. Just want to make sure you know the difference. Yeah, a lot of people, yes. But then again, it should, because you should go into position sizing where you've worked out that that's the maximum risk I'm taking. You'll miss out some fantastic gains, but equity management is number one. Stop trying to make 100% a month. You can in 1 month and you blow it the next. You will not sustain that kind of growth. I've never seen anyone sustain that kind of return ever. And we're looking for a sustainable growth. I'd rather make 50, 60, 70% a year or more, make it per year, not per month, per year on a consistent basis, than make 100% a month and then blow it the next week. I like being a profit. I don't think you're unique in that one, Mr. Watts. I don't think many people are going to a loss. I think it's fairly safe to assume that. Thank you very much, Jethro. Print that more often. I like that. And quite frankly, Jethro, I do not. Never mind, not my money. I don't want you to blow that in a month. Make it in 2 months, you double your account and blow the whole lot in a week by overexposing. Be consistent, be disciplined. Very, very important. And I know that because I'm not the world's most disciplined, so I know. I could have been a lot more successful, a lot more areas, because I've had a lot of privileges in my life. But if I don't have the discipline, it's no good. I don't care what the color of your skin is, whether your parents are rich or whether they went to the best schools. If you don't have the discipline, you're going to screw it up. You've got to be disciplined. Yeah, well, the only reason at 5% is when you've got small accounts, you've got no choice. But if you've got 50 grand or more, you shouldn't be risking 5%. You're overexposed. In one trade. You know, the international norm is 2%, but that applies with guys who've got some money in their account. We've got too many guys with very small amounts. We can't apply that rule. Trading plan, Roger, helps you. We've got to have a trading plan. You have to. I tell you what, you get in the taxi or get on a bus and the conductor asks you where you're going, so I have no idea. He's going to look at you rather strangely. Guys treat this as a bit of fun. I don't know strategy. Oh, a bit of green, I think I'll go in. I must jump up. That's a good enough reason. I'm going to buy it. Well, it's a bit high now. I think I'm going to sell it. That's their strategy. That's quite often intelligent people doing it. That's their emotions totally in control. I just think silver and gold, I think a lot of this is overcooked. I could be wrong, I admit that, but I think it's overcooked. I think we expect some pullback. Put it this way, I ain't chasing this stuff now. That to me is a classic area of buying near the top. It could go and make higher highs. I'm not saying it won't, but I'd rather be buying sort of better price. Chasing it now, I'm not keen if you want to buy it. We'll do silver first. What do you want to do with it? What do you want to do with it? extremely bitter pill. Well, you knew me, we had a couple losing trades. I'm inconsolable. I'm a real bloody drag. And they can't shut me up when I have a better day, you know. Okay, anybody want to buy or sell silver? I'm saying stand the sidelines for now. I think it could pull back, but I won't be selling it yet. It's technical damage there from, look at this. And what's the daily chart? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. From 8 days gone from the sell zone, scream through the neutral into the buy zone. So maybe buy it round about here. We'll look at the situation first. That's correct. Now that's Sean. Everyone read that. Everything was affected, whatever, yesterday, strangely. But, you know, normally speaking, non-farm payrolls day, leave the dollar, gold alone, or indexes alone. But maybe go for the pound JPY or something. Absolutely. Yeah, I hear you, but rather see if we get a pullback first, my opinion. Anybody disagree? I want to buy silver now. Yeah, I think it might take a bit of a breather. Let's look at the hourly again. See a bit of consolidation. Try to look at this wick here. Came off. Look at this wick here. I haven't got a wick yet, but it's coming off a bit. Might hover around there, might pull back a bit, profit taking, and then maybe get something there. But it looks like the technical damage is done. If the figures continue to come good out of the States, might have a bull run a bear run on the dollar, which means we'll have a bull run on silver and gold. Probably wise there, knowledge, wise. I'm a bit iffy on pending orders, to be honest. I'm not against them, we've got other things to do. But you put a pending order here, for instance, right? And you leave there and forget about it, or go and do other stuff. And then the situation changes. Some more figures come out and say, no, still inflation's pretty bad. What we're going to have to do is we're still going to increase interest rates by 3/4, or the likelihood is, and then dollar will strengthen, silver and gold will come down because the situation has changed by the time we get to that pending order. So, yeah. I'd rather be around to put in yourself for that situation. But if you have a pending order, if you're around before it gets clicked, just make sure you just look at the DXY and the yields first to make sure it's not going to stuff it up, if you see what I mean. Oh, absolutely, Sean. Completely and totally. Totally and completely. Gold, silver went up simply because the dollar went off. Obviously, if I knew, never mind looking at gold, if I knew the CPI was going to be lower than expected, I would have known immediately what would have happened. And I'd immediately bought gold, but I didn't know those figures were going to come out. And I didn't want to chase it too high. If that dollar, it's 107.6, it starts rising up, takes out 1.8, starts heading towards 109, silver and gold will come off. And going into the weekend as well. Anything can happen over the weekend. Some news release might happen that's good for the dollar, and that, never mind your stop there, if you're going long, it could open up down there, and that's the price you'll get out on. You will not be a happy chappy. Tesla, I still think Tesla and Baba, and a lot of them now, we're going to be looking to overcooked sell them. This is looking awful, pulling the 4 out. The bounces occurred. I still think we're still in the big problems. I think there's opportunity coming in on the US stocks on Monday. Not this weekend, no, Monday. Because we'll be close to the weekend. Start getting some selling bargains, overpriced in other words. A lot of it is today. Remember, the retail trade, guys, has taken off exponentially, an understatement since COVID. And so they're playing a big part in it. Before, they were the small guys compared to the institutions. Now, collectively, they've got a say. And unfortunately, a large percent of the retail traders are sentiment-driven rather than rational-driven. There you are, hating Elon. But that's news pushing it. So that's sentiment-driven. I mean, how many people have met Elon or even know the whole picture of what's going on? It's just sort of narrative coming out of the press, and we react to it. That's how the sentiment takes control. What's GME? I'm sorry, my ignorance. What's GME? Do that in the meantime. Spell GME. I'm not sure what GME is. Someone help me out there. Yeah, I've been saying that for a while. He was overcooked. Every time it came off, mind you, it was doing beautifully there. The fundy screwed that up. But that fundy's out the way. Oh, hang on. Sorry, guys, just to say, just reminded me. 9 o'clock, it's done now. GBP, GDP, minus 0.6%. They thought it would be minus 0.4. So the GDP was worse than expected month on month, slightly better than expected year on year, and slightly worse than expected on the quarterly on quarterly. So the year on year is better, but the latest slightly worse. GDP in theory should see a slightly weaker pound. Okay. But again, the only downside of that, they might start pressurizing more interest rates from the governor, Bailey, the Bank of England. So that's it. But yeah, I'm expecting downside. Technically speaking, it's in the buy zone, but technically speaking, it's at resistance. And technically speaking, the Canadian, it's an oil producer. The oil price is going bullish at the moment. I think that's been oversold, and I think the pound's been overbought. I think that's going to pull back here. That's my take. Okay. So technically, unfortunately, it's a bit of a negative. It's not in the sell zone, it's in the buy zone. But let's have a look at the daily. Could go up higher on the daily. Yeah, I get that. Weekly could do, but it's in the sell zone weekly, remember? The 4 hour, have I got that right? No, beg your pardon, I have the 4 hour, beg your pardon. So buy zone, the 4 hour, beg your pardon. The daily, it's neutral. How far up is that? Yeah, if you want to sell it, I think you might have to have your stop quite out of the way up here somewhere, which is quite wide, but I do see some downside keeping in. 4 hour, I've mentioned. 1 hour. My problem on the 1 hour is it did come off just now by 25 pips, and the buyers have come in. The 1 hour is the one area which is quite powerful. I might stand aside. I don't like the way the buyers came up on the 1 hourly candle so damn quickly. If I saw this as red, I would say I'll push the trade a lot stronger. I'm a little bit now thinking maybe this ain't 5. Oh, GameStop. Okay, that's what you mean. Yeah, remember GameStop? Yeah. I think that was a bit of a sort of bubble like GameStop. Yeah, it's another story. Again, moving along from that, yeah, the 1 hour is giving you some chip. I think maybe looking at the 1 hour, I'm gonna sort of maybe hold back on the GBP CAD. Okay, that's me. But if you want to ignore it and want to sell it, up to you. But that is a bit of a worry. Why the buyers have been attracted so much? Maybe not out of the woods yet, the Canadian or US dollar. So I think I might get a little bit of with knowledge on this one, just to hold 5 and maybe go into the weekend on it. Maybe miss out, but I think probably better. Yeah. Does everyone know what Jethro means by short squeeze? It's often used on Bloomberg and CBC in the news. Short squeeze. Short squeeze is when you go on short and it's going against you. You're holding on, hoping it's going to come off. It keeps going up until you can hold on no longer. Your short is being squeezed. You're being squeezed financially. And in the end, you cannot hold any longer. Your funds, like equity, cannot take it. You don't want to take the loss. You've got no choice. So you have to close. But by closing a short, you're buying to exit. So as those guys close, they've been squeezed. They close those shorts because they can't handle it anymore financially. That because they're buying to get out, you get a bit more move upwards. Institutions know that, the pros know that, the big boys, all their degrees know that. They wait till the retail short squeeze kicked in, they see that happening, and as they're squeezed out, they can handle it no longer, it goes up a little bit more, being squeezed, sorry, just give me a second, being squeezed and squeezed and squeezed, they can't, and they can see they've been squeezed out, coming off now, coming off, the sell's going to come in and push it down, you've been squeezed out. That's what short squeeze means. Good. Bits of resistance now, but look, did we get much of a pullback on the hour? No, we didn't. We'll go to the 15 minutes. Look what happened. Soon it came back, started buying again. A few sells are coming in defending, but that's not enough confirmation. A few sells on a 15-minute. That's not good enough. Well, it's nice English, you understand me. Correct English, grammatically correct in words you don't understand is no good at all. As long as you understand. I don't care how you speak the language, as long as we both understand each other. We're not like French. You pronounce it incorrectly, you're in trouble. As long as you understand, I don't care. It's like saying Joubert instead of Joubert. As long as I understand you, I don't mind. Well, the Afrikaner might change his mind on that. Meneer Joubert from Potgieter, you know, Potgietersrus, Potgietersrus. It's like the guy said, Afrikaans. You know, it's just, no, it's not right. Okay, thanks a lot, Roger. Have to run. Okay, Gerard, good stuff. Okay, so 5 minutes to go. It's gone quite quick, this one, eh? I don't get any more trades out, to be honest, today. If I do, I'll post them. If I find something look pretty good, I will post on the group WhatsApp. So if you're on there, keep your phone handy. But don't be surprised if it doesn't occur going into the weekend. I didn't get the bounce overnight as expected. We still haven't got full results. The Georgia thing's still being held up. We might have to have a re-vote on the Senate coming into December. So we're going to be a little bit of hovering on that. So we haven't got too much settlement, for want of a better word. So probably not. But if I do find one, which I don't think would be likely, I'll post it. Otherwise, hopefully we can get some good stuff going on Monday. Bloody better, Sean. Bloody better. Okay, so you mean on the 1 hour, I might get support there. Anyway, we've got to stop out of the way, so we'll see how it goes. But I haven't posted on the group WhatsApp. I don't think I will actually. It's a trading on one. I think I'm not going to post it yet until I see maybe a bounce at low level. So it does get posted, different than the one you got on the trading room. Don't change it around. Just stick with the one you got. Okay. But it's something I might post later on if it's looking good. But I'm not sure it'll be a short, to be honest. We'll see. Okay, guys. Is 11.7 holding on the NAS? No, still see. We haven't got the pullbacks. So I thought we might start getting some pullbacks, bargain hunting, but it hasn't occurred as yet. We did a US dollar yen, but it might be coming off a bit. Just checking it. But I think it's got to happen sometime. I hope it does, because I believe that. But the dollar yen, didn't write the thing down. Where did I write it down? I thought I wrote it down. I don't think I did. Didn't we have on the dollar yen? Wow. Oh, no, it's right. You guys didn't want to do it. That's right. So I didn't write it down. That's fair enough. Probably just as well. She's still pulling back still. So probably just as well we waited. But I did say mitigation is extremely aggressive if you want to do it. But if you didn't, probably just as well as pull back a bit. So leave the damn thing alone. We're not getting the push bounce that I was expecting, to be honest. So rather wait till it occurs. Okay. If you break support one, you've got to short it. Yeah, you've got to go with it. Good point, Sean. I want to elaborate on that. You've got to do what the buyer and seller do, not what you think. You fall in love with the strong dollar, fall in love with the weak yen, yeah, just plow in more money, no stop loss because it's got to happen. And now you'd have blown all your funds because it's come down 500 pips. You get the idea. The chart says if the sellers are in charge on the US dollar yen, it's going to break down. You sell it. Even though it goes against the grain, you've got to do that. You're quite right. No, Ricky, before I do that, I'll post a number on here, but it's only on the WhatsApp group if you've got 2,500 Rand or more. So if you haven't got 2.5 grand account, I can't. Company rules. So if you got more than 2.5 grand, I'll post a number and you can WhatsApp me with your full names and your real trading account number so I can check it this side. And then I'll update this side and I'll put you on there. But if you haven't, well, then you haven't. But I'll put the number down. But if you haven't, I can't put you on the group WhatsApp. Just give me a second while I put that. That's my official. I prefer senior expert trading analysis, but Roger Trojan Sport will do. And WhatsApp, please. I'm too busy to go into long-term calls, unless if it is a long one, I'll phone you. Okay, I'll just do WhatsApp will do. As it's inundated, and I just haven't got to look after that many. But again, there, copy it down. Anybody there not in my WhatsApp group, we've got 2.5 grand or more. WhatsApp me with full details. Don't say my name is George. You get all the time. Who the sodding hell's George? You know, it's George Smith 171256 real account number. And then bang, done, sorted. I'll upload you. Okay, just bear that in mind. The idea of 2.5 grand is still fairly small, but it's encouraging people to take this seriously. If you've got very small amounts, enjoy yourself, but you're always going to be basically battling because you're undercapitalized. Trying to encourage people to, you know, capitalize correctly. They're quite to spend 5 grand a month in a motor car and then put 1 grand in a trading account and think they're going to pay for the car with it. How's that going to work? Bit of common sense. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, just to finish off, what's the dollar rand doing? Happy days for guys who want to buy dollars, eh? But I'm not sure it's going to get to 16. I think you're pushing your luck a bit there, but we shall see. Is it still falling CHF JPY? Seems to be holding around there. Seems to be. Let's try the 5 minute. We're pushing the luck here. No, 1 minute. Ugh. Looks like go might be some more downside, but anyway, stops out of the way. Keep your fingers crossed. Bloody confusing, Sean. So I say leave it alone. I had to say, I hated yesterday's trading room yesterday. You guys were asking me questions and I had to put my hand up and say, I don't know. When you get these emotional overreactions, etc., it's almost like trying to explain mathematics to a person who's had too much to drink. It's no, it can't happen. So common sense is not common. I agree on that. So there are times go figure, and I'll be upfront, go figure. But I can back it up. When we haven't got these problems, our trading hit rate in the trading room is very good. International norm is 2 out of 3 over a period of time. We've been beating that. So only time to get the knock is be careful your position sizing when you get this fundamental stuff coming in. Sorry to go on about it, it's vital. You spend 3 months building up 100 units and then you blow it in 1 day by overexposing on a trending fundamental coming out. That's not the way it should happen. I'm feeling a bit for you guys. Hadn't happened to me. I'd missed stops. I've knocked out a beer in a couple of them, but I did that. But I feel for you guys. So when I get a bit down, it's not my account, worry about it's you guys. Try to get on the level of the sentiment and not 3 months to build, 1 day to blow it. It's not a clever idea. I tend to agree there, Etienne, but we've been on the WhatsApp a couple of times, eh? And we said, you said, I've said, these are good trades. Strange things happen. I'd rather be wrong for the right reasons than to be right for the wrong reasons. I don't want to go away and think, I got lucky, I bought and said I sold the NAS or whatever, and then said, no, I'm an expert trader because I got lucky. And then it'll come bite you. Has it? Still going down, is it? Yeah. Not yet on the daily, might on the 1 hour. Not really. Not really. If it breaks this, we got a problem. That's why I have a stop. That's why we have a stop. I'll put it in there. See, it bounced off that previous, even that flying down, it bounced off that. That's when the guys took profit because they could see it. That's why you got the short covering bounce. That's why that occurred. So if it breaks that, we've got a problem, and that's why it was stopped. You don't want to be on board then. But you're going for a short, that's fine. You're doing fine. Go for the short, absolutely. But we're in long the trading room, guys. We've got support on that, and we'll see how it works out. Okay. That's very short term. And even that hasn't broken down here. And that's today. Was it today? Only a few hours ago, anyway. It hasn't broken this guy here, and the few buyers are coming in there. Not much. I think it could get back to the round figure 146. I have a feeling that will hold around about that level. You might get a bounce. So if you haven't taken it, it might be you get a better price. Before we go, I think you guys know it already, but please understand this. If it's a buy at 146.50 and you've been busy and it's comes down to 146.25, don't put a buy stop in, go in at market, you're getting a better price. That's why I put on my WhatsApp group, buy at 146.50 or better. Don't put a buy stop in. Guys do that. No, you got a better price. You go in at market because you're getting a better price. It's the only time we put a buy stop is when you want to buy this, and it's up here, put a line in to make absolutely sure on the same page. This is the high, right? Why do we put a buy stop in? But why do we want to buy at a higher price? Because we wanted to see the breakthrough from this floor to the next one. We're in the hotel. This here is the third floor. That's the fourth. We put the buy stop here somewhere. It means it's broken the fourth floor at the bottom of the fourth floor to take it up. We don't want to buy it till it's broken through. That's the buy stop. But if we're buying here in the normal way that I put out, I would mention that. Do not buy before that level. Use a buy stop, and I will say that. Otherwise, buy at 146.30 or better, and it gets to 146.10, and you want to go in, well, do not put a buy stop. Go in at market. You're getting a better price. Okay. You're not going to say, I'm going to buy it at 1 million, but I'm offering the house you want. Yeah, at 950. No, I want to pay 1 million. Hey, you get the point. It's going for that wick, is it? Seems to be, yeah. What do you want, Friday blues? Because blue's the color of profit. There you go, Mo. I don't want to be nasty, Gomo, but I still hope I'm right and you're wrong. Hey, yeah, this is right back above 147. I hope you're on, though, because I'm not going to let you off on this one. Yeah, told you so. I'll tease you, sir. Lemma, I keep calling you Gomo. Sorry, Lemma, beg your pardon. Zoom out, sure. Yeah. Which the guys along are happy for it. We've got to trade along. We're happy. We want that. It's the lemmas of this world that don't. Okay. We still have supply. Oh, you might be right. I'm only teasing now, but come back and bite. Till that time with Zeph and I, we had a Euro CHF. I think I was a short, he was a long. We both won. Came down, modified the stop, kicked out the profit, shot up, went up. He modified his stop and the profit, and he won. The buyers and sellers won. Happens. Are you going for long now, Sean? Okay. Well, there you are. There's a good example. Now, Sean not clearly traded a bit before, so we learned from him. He thought he'd wait for better support and see a bounce, confirmation he's going in. So he's got in a better price. We got in at 60. He's got in at 30 odd. So he's happy he's got a better price. That's fine. We're still in, but hopefully we get a better price. Okay. Okay, that's about it, guys. Have a great weekend. Catch you on Monday. Thank you, Rob. Oh, yes, of course, new to the trading room. Hope you learned some stuff here. This is not something you pick up at first time. Even if you're a genius, you won't pass your driving test after one lesson. This is ongoing. It's an ongoing, not the class. Get the idea, don't have to go back. Once you've got the basics of the class, that's fine. This is where it's ongoing. And I will push a lot on the fundamental side because it's a much bigger player now than it's ever been before. So you've got to know what's happening on the economic front as well as the technicals. Okay. Good. Okay. Have a great weekend. I'm just going to let Elvin in to tell him we're finishing. He's just joined us now at 11 o'clock. Clearly, he didn't read the Zoom times. Oh, yes. Thanks very much, Philip, as always. We'll get the smile back on our faces. We'll get the 10 on the trot we had the other week, hey? We'll do it again. Don't you worry. Been there before. Thank you. Pomelo. I can't pronounce it. Mr. L. Yeah, this Doc thing. I'm going to find out why they call me Doc. I've got a horrible feeling. I believe the Zulus gave him a nickname. It's not always a rude one, but it was always flattering. Right? You know, I'm horrible feeling it's someone's taking the piss somewhere. I'm not quite sure why that name. Anyway. Okay. Anyway, moving along. Yeah, close up. Thanks, guys. See you then. Cheers, Philip and guys.